Back with more Doctor Who. This is our reaction to The Power of the Doctor. This is the Doctor Who centenary special celebrating 100 years of the BBC. Our third of the 3 specials we're getting this year. And it's a big one. Very, quite literally the end of an era with Jodie's last episode as the Doctor, Chris Chibnall's last episode as showrunner, whole new production team coming in to take over next year for the 60th anniversary specials, and then Ncuti's first season after that. So this is kind of a momentous occasion. And just for clarity's sake, I'm recording this after, and we've seen the episode. I'm just about to sit down to edit, and once again, if there's anything I'm consistent with in regards to Doctor Who reactions, it's consistently bad at intros and forgetting to record them. So, nothing changes. I've just come off my second viewing of it, so I'm a bit a bit weepy. But yeah, spoiler alert, we loved it. So it's crazy to think that this is the end of an era. To have watched an entire Doctor's era on YouTube through reactions is mad. But I've loved the past 4 years of covering Jodie's era on the channel. In the sea of negativity and hate that Jodie and Chris Chibnall get daily from idiots, and some people who have their fair criticisms of this era and then their unfair criticisms of this era. I'm glad to have been there from the start and have always enjoyed this era, very much so, and I am going to miss it, and I'm going to miss Jodie in particular. So I do like to have been, hopefully, a voice of positivity about this era in a sea of people, shitting on it for views when they could just stop watching and move on with their lives, but for some reason they don't. Interesting. But yeah, I have adored Jodie in the role and very, very sad to be losing her. But, lots of different elements coming into this special to make it something really exciting. And, it was, I think, initially written to be potentially the final episode of the show, because Chris Chibnall only found out about Russell T Davies taking over as showrunner the day before it was announced for us. So obviously they'd already written and basically filmed the special by then. I think they were filming it when the news came, so he didn't really have much time to change things up. So with that in mind, that's quite the momentous task. And I guess you'll see how we reacted to that very, very soon. But just want to take this time before we get into the reaction to thank everyone who's been around, whether you kind of discovered our reactions during Flux last year or, at any point during Jodie's run. It's been a great 4 years. I hope you've kind of enjoyed this era as much as I have. And if you haven't, well, you can keep that to yourselves. But it's weird coming to the end here. I don't know where I'm going to stand with YouTube by the time Doctor Who returns next year, because it's going to be over a year now until we get a new episode. So this might be my last ever Doctor Who reaction on the channel. I don't know where we're going to stand, but I'm really glad to have been here for this era, and I just want to thank anyone who's kind of checked out and supported these reactions during the past 4 years. And also shout out to people when I went to Doctor Who Time Fracture. Me and Connor went to that just before it closed in London, and bumped into a few people who recognised me and then said hi. Shout out to you guys, because that made my day, and that was very, very wholesome. And I don't think we've had a Doctor Who episode since then, so I don't know if I've had the chance to say hi and thanks. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed Time Fracture, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. The fact that I got to share my love of, a show that has been my heart and soul since I was 9, and I'm now 26. It's meant a lot to me that I've had the opportunity to do that. And I've really, really enjoyed this era and Jodie's performance, and I'm really going to miss her Doctor a hell of a lot. But I've rambled on enough, so just a big thanks again, and I hope you enjoy the reaction.
I'm not afraid of the Cybermen. We're more than
Savage.
Oh no!
She gets shot.
That's what it is.
Don't be scared. I'm the Doctor. I'm going to protect you.
Oh.
I could have gone better.
There was a Russian doll toy box inside, but there was also a card from the doctor.
Interesting.
I need to attack him. And I can now. Because I've been with you.
Home's important.
Look, character growth from when someone left her before. Ooh. Oh, heck.
Anyway, back to the plot. Interesting.
Oh, you can do mind control again. That's nice.
Oh dear.
Jesus.
That's what the thing is.
Have you any idea what's going on in outer space in 1916 right now?
Strangely enough, no. Oh, also, new freelancers don't cross.
That is a good look on you, Professor.
Oh, she called the professor.
Mona Lisa. Screen.
Oh my god. What a troll. I love him.
It's good to see you both. Oh,
I'm sure that's nothing.
No, it's just fine.
Clear up the tiny bodies and inform the loved ones for me, would you?
Oh, god. Oh. What now? She's just going to die of exhaustion, I think.
Oh, I have a ship problem in that it's broken. Thanks, Grandma.
Your dad was an idiot.
Oh, you dickhead.
Tegan Joe Franker. How's your Auntie Vanessa?
Oh,
Where
God.
the dolls have. You all feel safer then with me in the building.
He's making good points.
Say not to. You go dark hunting.
Excuse me?
Steve, you stay here and monitor the
Hunting.
You
Oh.
won't be long.
Dalek
Professor
hunting.
Ah, okay.
Just trying to lighten the tone before you all die.
Oh, he's so good.
I can't keep doing this with you. Running from one place to the next, never
Oh, got some good news for you then.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh my god. Well, that's new. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Now she knows what Clara feels like.
Do you remember the ultimate sanction for breaking our laws? Forced regeneration. New ones, didn't they?
But we got John Pertwee out of it, so...
That's true.
They couldn't resist, could they?
This is excellent.
Can you believe this guy?
I'd hate to have to bring you down to stuff.
We only just got here. They're all over the old tables.
What's going on?
So many things. I never would have guessed this.
Nope, you're not wrong.
I wouldn't have guessed this 10 minutes ago.
No.
So. Oh my god. Oh.
Well,
Who is it?
oh!
Oh! Is this like where all the dead doctors go?
Yeah.
The question is,
Oh my god.
and you were doing so well. That's why we're here.
Yeah, boy!
I will have very subtly inserted a sonically triggered nano implant under your skin and passed it on to static electricity.
Ah, there you go. Oh. Oh,
Oh
dear.
dear me.
Oh.
I would simply die.
Huh?
Oh! Oh, that's cool.
Now I'm hallucinating.
Oh, it's her dog.
You're affecting the interface of your hologram implant. You think you left and I never thought of you again. I never forget any of you.
What am I thinking, seeing all these Cybermen?
Adric,
Oh.
Reinhardt,
Oh.
I missed you.
missed you too. Now please don't get killed.
You never failed me, Professor. You made me
be the person I am today.
Old children leave home sooner or later. The joy is to watch them fly. I'm all in good. We're an ace.
I can't take this nostalgia. It's too emotional.
Russ is watching this going, what am I gonna do?
Fuck's sake!
Yay!
Want to see how I dealt with him in 1963?
1963. How old are you?
Seriously, a gentleman never asks that, and never on the first date.
Oh.
I'm Ace.
Your conversion shall begin.
Boy.
Like father, like daughter.
Yeah.
Someone order a legend. Hey!
Big Luke Skywalker vibes.
Yeah. Idiots.
So it was just the genetic material you put into them, was it?
You aren't going to use that.
I'm freelance.
Oh, that's sad.
What am I wearing?
Yes. Oh, oh God.
Ooh.
Oh, you played yourself.
Oh.
Yeah, get him. There she goes.
Oh.
Oh, gee. I
Kinda
mean,
close, wasn't it?
God.
I would like to go in the TARDIS.
Okay. What would be the opposite of the Death Star?
I'm sorry that you were taken and that you've been harnessed. I'll see you released.
She can relate.
But I need one more thing from you.
It's true.
Channel your energy down.
Shit.
Oh dear.
Extended fun.
I need more time. I want more time. Where would you choose? Or flavour ice cream? Goodbyes only hurt because what came before was so special. It's been so special. You and Graham and Ryan and Dan and my heart is so full of love for all of you. I have loved being with you, Yaz. And I have loved being me.
It's the boys.
Didn't you get your invite? I'm Graham. I can't be the only one. I can't. And look, I'm not.
Ian's
There are
there.
people out there too. So maybe this is where we share
Aw.
stories.
Joe.
What'll do, mister?
Sorry. Did you say...
How many doctors are there? I think we're going to be here quite some time. Look after the next one. You okay? Is she okay? Of course she's okay. She's the doctor. Right then. Don't tell you where I'm about to be. Tag. You're it.
Oh. Look who it is. Who could have guessed?
Yeah! Yeah!
Yes!
I need 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. There's so much to discuss, and I already know that there are really important things that I've forgotten about and will forget about. That's fine, because we do reviews on your channel, so we can talk about them there if we need to.
Have more time to digest as well between now and when we.
Yeah, it finished 4 minutes ago.
Yes.
We've just, followed that, Russell. I mean, if anyone can.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's fair. He at least did follow it with the last 4 minutes, I guess. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes? I don't know.
Well, it was everything David Tennant said, right?
I would assume so, yeah.
So the teeth and what. I don't know. It feels weird. We've watched an entire Doctor on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Live. Yeah, we never catched up on it. Yeah, that's true. Well, that was The Power of the Doctor. That was the Centenary special.
Certainly was a centenary special.
It certainly was.
Certainly was an episode of Doctor Who.
It certainly was that as well. That was 90 non-stop minutes. Fuck.
I must admit, there was not a point when I was like...
I don't think
I'm
I've
so
been.
bored. No.
I don't think I've ever been more consistently entertained by
I
anything that
I
long.
was more looking at the time to be like, how is there only this length left?
Yeah.
Because it flew by.
Yeah.
I do have two sort of criticisms, very small criticisms.
Yes.
And to be fair, one of them sort of changed.
Okay.
The first one was I was going to be a bit like, I wish we saw the companions leave the TARDIS when the Doctor was unconscious. But then we had the scene with the round table and they were all chatting.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's fine, we've had that.
Yeah.
And I also wish Dan was in it more than he was.
Yeah.
I would also maybe say that Vinda was a bit of a spare part, but maybe that's COVID playing a part in John Bishop couldn't do those scenes,
it might be
therefore
that.
Vinda had to come in
Yeah.
because they were part of it.
I do think probably I'll revisit this and be like, probably half of these people didn't need to be in it. But when it's a centenary special, I really don't care because. Yeah, that was centenary special. It was a very special thing. Like seeing Ian, that guy's 100. I swear, I'm pretty sure like he's legitimately like close to 100. If not, he is 100. That's like one of the first ever companions we just saw come back.
Not as a recast.
Not as a recast. And Joe Grant showed up, however briefly, and we had Bonnie Langford back.
Yeah.
We had David Tennant come back.
Yes.
We had Peter Davison and Colin Baker and
Yes,
Sylvester McCoy and Paul McGann. And
the bigger shocks for me were the Doctors, I think. And
yes.
There's probably going to be a bit of discourse around the like edge of whatever they were, you know. I think that'll be a thing, but it makes sense for me.
I think it's a really clever way of not having to de-age them and still having them in it.
Yes. And when I said at the time that it was very Big Finish, there's a Time Lord in Big Finish that does have 11 personalities all struggling within him.
Right.
Different regenerations, basically struggling to come forward and take over the body. So it makes sense that these consciousnesses go somewhere and come out, and this is obviously where they go. They just choose not to interfere.
That might be what's happening with the Doctor at the minute.
Yes,
So
yes.
60th specials. More specials all the time.
Yep.
You've had 3 specials this year. Get ready
Yeah.
for another 3 next year.
Yes.
God, what a ride that's going to be.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much to talk about. But I really like the previous Doctors coming back in.
Yeah, that was.
I
really
almost
nice.
thought they might get Tom Baker, but obviously I think he's quite. It would tax him a lot, I think, to do that, which is probably why they didn't want to risk it, especially if it's filmed during COVID. With him
Exactly
being as old
that
as
as well.
he is, they probably didn't want to risk it. Because I can't imagine all those people were on the same set at the same time.
No, definitely
Those
not.
previous Doctor ones would have been filmed individually.
Yeah, to the extent where they needed an excuse for Paul McGann to not share the same outfit. I feel like that's just
Yes,
like a very
maybe.
COVID-y thing.
Yeah, Paul McGann probably has that in his house.
Yeah,
so he did
absolutely.
it there. And I'm so happy. I like Paul McGann on my TV again. I love it. He hasn't appeared enough for me, considering he still pretty much looks the same. Like of all the classic Who Doctors, he looks the most like his Doctor still. And I'm glad that he was back, and I'm glad they all came back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And yeah, it was great, and I'm glad that David Bradley came back as well.
Yeah, that was
as
cool.
the first Doctor, that was
Yeah.
nice. I think maybe Joe Martin. I think maybe that's the thing, is that I think that they did ditch the whole Division fugitive stuff for this.
Yes.
But to be fair, you could argue that it was wrapped up at the end of Flux, so they wrapped it up
Also
for
true.
someone else to pick up if anybody else wanted to.
I'm glad we saw her, however briefly. It is a shame, I think, that the only time she was ever actually her was in Fugitive of the Jadoon.
Yeah.
It's always been something else,
Yeah, a mirage,
which
or
is a shame. I think, that's probably COVID is a big reason as to why.
Because she would have filmed again those scenes probably by herself somewhere
Yeah,
else.
but I am glad that we at least kind of saw her, because she's kind of a defining aspect of this era.
Yeah.
Ra
Ra Rasputin.
Rasputin. Sacha Dhawan was incredible in
He
this
was,
episode.
he was, especially in that scene.
I hope we see his master again.
We might not, but I hope
We might not.
You know.
I mean, it's a fine ending for him, I think, if that is it for his incarnation. But yeah, I would love to see more of him. He had so many good lines in this one.
Great lines. He had so much depth with the whole when he was being returned to his body, where he was like,
Yeah.
"Please."
He
don't.
became the Doctor, for God's sake.
He was like, "Please don't make me do this. Please
Yeah.
don't put me back in that body. I don't." Want
That
to
was
do
really sad, actually.
And it's like, oh my god.
No, that's how much he hates himself.
And I think that the Master into the Doctor thing will be another thing that gets incredibly talked about. I think, and will be quite divisive.
I think that's a really cool idea.
It is, and it makes sense. People can't. The Eighth Doctor controlled his regeneration.
Yeah.
Regenerations can be controlled into what you want it to do, and so he just effectively killed himself and regenerated into
Yeah,
that version.
I
of
love
himself,
that
and then-
they've really went ham with that kind of stuff, because like regeneration,
Yeah.
like orders and stuff, that means nothing anymore.
No,
and that's,
good.
Fair enough.
Good.
But they really went ham in that with this one,
Mm-hmm.
and that. I think this is what Shin was talking about when he was talking to us, and being like, well, this lead actually leads perfectly into
Yes.
what you're planning to do,
Yeah.
because I think he unintentionally perfectly set up
if
the 60th.
degeneration's not been a thing, and so therefore
Yeah.
it might have messed with the system.
And obviously it's not like a traditional change, because like his clothes and everything
Yes,
appeared with
everything
him.
changed. It wasn't.
So
as
it's
if
not
he
going to
was
be
in
like
the
a
bo- in the
standard
clothes,
thing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll get like the proper thing with Shooty. I didn't pay
saying, and
attention to what Shooty was wearing in that
No,
clip.
he
but
didn't. Well, I mean, it didn't look like David's outfit, and it looked like he was in a CGI room, judging by the background.
Yeah.
Could just be that it's unfinished, because who knows what
Yeah.
it could be. But we did see him as well, so I was surprised that we actually got
we got a
footage of
clip
him,
of him.
with him. Yeah,
yes.
did he have it? He had his mustache, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he had a mustache. We'll have
He
to
might have
we'll have
done.
to
I'll have to go back.
we'll have to have a look at it.
but
But
yeah, that's next year. Really.
Oh,
It's not even.
you-
That wasn't even part of this episode. But
No,
I'm still like But yeah, we kind of. That's cool. I mean, you've kind of figured the 60th anniversary stuff's also going to have more than one Doctor in it, so it makes sense that we see him
Yeah.
in that way.
I think
and also this kind of scratches that multi-Doctor itch
yes, definitely.
as well, to tide us over. But
Ashad was pretty good. It seems like what the Master did was it sounded like he
Cloned
cloned
him.
Ashad,
yeah,
and put him inside a tiny, literally like a Russian doll, which I really liked how they did that. Like it's like
you thought it
kind
was
of
just like a little
um,
joke, and then it actually
Yeah, you
was
kind
a
of thought,
Russian
it's
doll.
just gonna be Ashad, and then it's like, oh, actually, it's this whole cyber army, kind of
Yeah.
like the Genesis arc
Just Sark, yeah,
in Doomsday,
Yeah.
but miniaturized.
yeah.
Which could no tiny Yaz.
No Tiny Yaz, that was
Which we did think would be the case. I
Yeah.
don't think he ever held up a little minifigure,
He
so that was
didn't,
just
no.
a little tease
Yeah.
to throw everyone off the scent. Maybe that's the only thing that I don't think he. I mean, it's all to set up the Doctor and get into unit, wasn't it? Really, but yeah, I mean, I just have to think about everything all over again. But
I just need to rewatch it.
I did really enjoy it. I know there's going to be things in there where people are like, oh, they can't do this, but
Yeah,
are you not going to watch the next episode? No, you are. So
yeah, exactly. You need to find out what the fuck's going on with that ending, and
yes,
the discourse of the first female Doctor immediately changing back into one of the most popular ones. Like that's going to be like.
I think that won't be as heavily discoursed as other aspects, because I think
Yeah, they
just-
probably
just
knew that.
because-
So it's like, well, let's just.
Well, I mean,
do all my
they've
ideas.
got confidence of what it is, and if you do it now, you kind of get it out of the way, then, don't you?
Yeah, so,
So-
it's kind of ripping off the bandit. That's not going to be. I think everything people will have a problem with in terms of like major things that happen in this one. They've all kind of watered each other down because there's so many things to talk about now.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a very clever thing to
I
do.
think all of it works. And
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
excited
I
for
loved all of
works.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I'll have to be convinced of the David Tennant thing. And I knew he was going to do the what nonsense, which I don't like, but that's fine.
Again, I think that and putting that at the end is more to make sure that people that may have fell off now pay attention a bit, because this is
But I
you
don't
can argue
wanna
that this
cater
is
to those people. I don't think
no,
that's
I
fair.
know. But if if the BBC and they want the show to be big, then they can try and get as many eyes on it in the new era, and then hope that when it goes back to your normal Doctor Who with a normal, people will stay on for it.
Yeah.
It's like when they cast Matt Smith as a young attractive man, and they go, that should keep people in, and then it did for a season, and then people fell off for various reasons or whatever. But I'm intrigued to see where that goes. I ain't going to complain, and also I don't run the show, so even if I didn't like it, it's not like I can be like, no, you can't do that.
Exactly. But there are people out there who don't.
Yes,
realise
there
that,
are
sadly.
people out there who won't like anything. But
I hope all you fuckers are happy. But yeah,
nobody died.
nobody died.
I was surprised that nobody died.
I mean, I guess the Doctor died.
No, yeah, I know, but
But
they regenerate, so therefore
no one we didn't already know was going to die died.
Yes, no companions died, which I was shocked about.
Yeah.
I thought at least somebody was going to go, and Tegan almost went. We almost predicted that Tegan was going to die, but she didn't. Kate didn't. Also thought she
I
might.
thought for a minute I was
she
like,
was
oh
getting
dear.
voted, but no.
But
she
I
got
think
lucky.
when talk about the end, what what the Doctor was saying to Yaz about like a real celebration of their time together and being who they are. I guess she couldn't have given a speech like that if one of them had just been killed off
Yes,
and
no, definitely,
stuff like that.
Definitely.
So I think that's just kind of the vision, I suppose. But yeah, so many people coming back.
Yeah, I guess the only other question is, how did Graham know to do the Dalek stuff? I assumed the Doctor and Yaz were like, let's get Graham, but I don't think there was a line there that
I
said
think
it.
I missed some lines from laughing and going, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the most noise we made was when Graham came back.
Well, it's because it was there was no like setup for it, was there? There was no
No,
like
he
tease,
was
there was
just
somebody
kind of
else there.
there.
He just walked in. It's like,
And we
"Oh!"
knew he was in it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like, yes!
Yeah.
Hooray, the thing we've known for like 10 months
Yeah,
is finally
You did
happened.
it, yeah.
But yeah, so many familiar faces in that. I mean, I didn't expect to see Ryan because he was obviously filming a show in America and stuff like that.
Busy.
But we've got a mention, which is nice. And yeah, I will never get over seeing, Tegan and an old Fifth Doctor interact like that.
Yes,
and
those interactions with the
Sylvester
former
and
companions
Ace.
and Doctors was
I got
was
very,
nice.
very teary at those
Yeah.
ones, at those scenes.
That's fair.
That was so good. Like, 'cause that's so special for them as well. So I love that, and people who grew up with those pairings, knowing that they're going to get to like see them again, that's so cool for them as well.
And it can kind of give opportunity to keep that going, because they still have those implants in their skins. So if they wanted to put them in other shows and do spin-offs and shit, they could have that Doctor and companion pairing doing spin-offs and doing other shows and appearing elsewhere. Don't know if they will, but it's a good like option to have for those things. And you can, now that that's been introduced, you could put that in every former companion and just do whatever, go ham with whatever you want.
Definitely, like they really. This was definitely a celebration. Like Adric got a mention.
I know, right?
He mentioned Adric.
Yeah.
I like that they didn't completely ignore like
Tegan's
history with the Cybermen. Yeah, Tegan hasn't changed a bit. I like that. And we kind of got a reason for why Ace left, which we didn't have on screen until now. So that's nice. And to see her make amends with Sylvester's face as well. That's that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like Chibnall had an idea for where he wanted to end the story, but he also now had to make it a centenary special.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's
he's
what he's been
balanced
saying.
that really
That's
well.
what he was saying in interviews. He always knew where he wanted to end and what he wanted to do in his finale, but the centenary was his excuse to put former companions and stuff in to make it a celebration.
And celebration it was.
Certainly was.
Indeed.
Unfortunately, the Ace book probably isn't canon anymore.
I haven't
sorry,
read
everyone.
it, so I don't know.
Childhood's End. However, if you want, people are probably going to complain that Ace and the Doctor didn't have like a proper conversation and they didn't whatever. But if you want that with the 13th Doctor and Ace, go and read Childhood's End. Because they have that in there with and Yaz is in there as well.
I will be thankful that they were in it rather than I wish they did this or that, because
definitely.
it's just
You're not entitled to anything.
the fact that I feel like it's 90 minutes and I'm like, you can't really cut anything.
No,
it was just relentless.
I said I think
really.
the only thing that probably didn't necessarily need to be there would have been Vinda. I think
Yeah,
he's the only one where I think he wasn't a necessity.
I think it's just because if it wasn't Jodie's last one, if it was just like a casual special, I think they just wanted to bring back more faces from her era as well to kind of have.
Yeah, and like it could literally just be a case of John Bishop couldn't film, so they needed to fill somebody to go away with Yaz and figure everything out.
And also, I know behind the scenes, the guy who plays Vinda is a huge fan of Ace and loves the Seventh Doctor era. So he was like geeking out meeting Sophie Archer, which I think is really cool as well.
Best boy.
Yeah, it's so good. So that's probably 10 minutes of the episode we've actually talked about and forgetting everything else.
There's so much. I mean, they haven't even spoken about the Daleks.
No.
Their plan, I guess they just worked with the Master.
Yeah.
The Master put them together. The Cybermaster design is excellent.
They're
really like that.
cool. I liked the opening on the train. That was a fun teaser.
It was, yeah.
And it did
Nice
lead
cold open.
Dan to leave of his own accord.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we'd kind of seen him and Di, but that's fine.
Yeah.
We got a bit of her in Legend of the Sea Devils.
It was either Di or Graham, and I'm happy we had Graham.
So yeah, I liked how they kind of wrapped up that, and because there's so many characters in there, I guess someone did need to take that back seat, and it makes sense. I'd rather that than Dan just die, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, there was all of that. That was just the opening 10 minutes, and then it all kicks off even more. It's just so many people and things and Rasputin. They couldn't resist it. They went for it. I loved it.
That was incredible.
That's
stuff.
absolutely bonkers, but I love it.
Loved it. And it makes again, it's in character. If I see people be like, "Oh, they shouldn't have done that. It's not very good," I will literally point them to John Sims Master doing "I Can't Decide" and the other one where he sends a chocolate plane down. So he has previous for doing things like that. So if I see complaints, I will be challenging them head on.
Or you could just
no,
leave them be.
No, because it's hypocrisy, isn't it?
Okay.
It's hypocrisy.
Okay.
If it wasn't based in fact, if it was, something that doesn't have a previous that can't be proven untrue, then I wouldn't care. But the fact that it's there,
I will leave them to rot in their filth.
We'll see.
So yeah, I love that. The shot of the Dalek and the Cyberman looking at each other like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
That might be the best shot in Doctor Who history. Is this the best episode of Doctor Who ever? I don't think it will be looked back as that. I think there's a good case for this being the most entertaining episode of Doctor Who ever.
I think this one will be on the same level as Day of the Doctor in the case of
yes.
It's a great episode of Doctor Who, as in it's got everything you want in it. You watch it and you really
celebrated
enjoy it
what it needed to
celebrates
celebrate.
The show.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch an episode of Doctor Who, you probably won't put this one on and be like, yeah, this is my favourite episode.
Yeah.
Because most people's favourite episodes aren't the big finales and things like that. Like yours isn't, mine isn't.
Yeah.
They're most of the time they're up there, but they're never the one that people put on. However, maybe this is one. I mean, time will tell if this is one that I regularly rewatch. But also the length that it is as well will probably not lend itself to rewatches as much as regular episodes do, because this is effectively 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's true. It's like a 2-part, really, isn't it?
And you can see where they might have left it for a 2-parter if they fancied it. There's a number of moments where they could have definitely cut it.
When they swap bodies, I think that would have been a good cliffhanger. And that was about 45 minutes, I think. So.
Yeah.
The Master forcing the Doctor to regenerate into him.
That was the most shocking thing of the episode.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I can't believe that hasn't been a thing. I mean, the Master's turned everyone on Earth into him before, but not turn the Doctor.
Previous,
so yeah, I thought that was really neat. I just think it's neat. And again, just Sacha Dhawan just being wonderful
throughout.
Yeah,
I guess my only other sort of thing, not necessarily criticism, but what I would want clarification on is, at what point did 2022 Master become Rasputin? Who was first? I assume.
Yeah, is that just earlier in his timeline? Is that just an early version?
Unless he was just coming back to 20 and putting a thing. I assume he set up the unit stuff and all that with the Daleks in that bit. Then did the escape from unit bit, and then went off and did his Rasputin stuff, and then it all came together. Like that's the timeline order. So they flip, but they don't necessarily explain that well enough. I think that's the issue with with them looking different. If they looked exactly the same in both eras, you don't have to worry about he's whatever. But in theory, his TARDIS was the planet, and that only moved once. So
yeah.
Might be wrong though. So.
I do like that he spent most of the episode just 10 steps ahead and because of that Siberium in him and everything.
Yeah.
That kind of gives him an extra edge. Something really different. I've loved that incarnation of the Master. I think that's another huge success of this era, has been how they've used the Master. It feels like only yesterday we watched the end of Spyfall Part 1 in the plane, and now here we are. So yeah.
Who knew at that point he'd be Rasputin.
Yeah.
To Rasputin.
That's true. So yeah, Sacha Dhawan was one of the big pluses of this entire era for me, but also this episode is fantastic. And in an episode where there's so many people in it and so many things that will shine, the fact that he still stands out so strongly, I think, is testament to his performance. God,
I think that's rough stuff here.
I mean, I want to talk about Jodie last, but what other?
I don't necessarily think there's too much else. I think we've covered most other things. I might be wrong though. I can't remember.
I can't believe I'm saying this because Liam of 2 years ago wouldn't have said it. I wish we got a Phasmin kiss.
Yeah,
I should have kissed on the TARDIS.
I would have. I know she said love traveling with you.
If
and
people
love
are
this.
like, I feel a bit shortchanged by that, I would be like,
yeah,
that's fair.
I mean, again, the argument is they technically wrapped it up in Legend of the Sea Devils.
Yes.
They technically acknowledged it and said, we're not going to do this.
Mm.
Acknowledge it, but we're going to keep things as they are.
Yeah.
And you could also argue that for them to like finally get that kiss moment and then for her to die is not the best thing either.
Mm.
But I also would have preferred she said love travelling with you and that stuff. It would have been just a nice, and I love you type thing.
Yeah.
I think that would have been that was the minimum I sort of thought they would do. But I can kind of, it's a no-win situation really.
Yeah,
if you have them kiss and then die, it's not great.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, that scene with them two on the TARDIS was one of my favourite scenes.
100%. Yeah.
That was. But yeah, I think that was a beautifully written and acted scene between the two of them as well.
100%. I assume that's the one where they got it in one take. Because they've both been saying in their interviews that their last scene they got in one take.
I saw a lot of Jodie in that scene rather than the Doctor, and I think that's kind of a good thing in this circumstance because you can just see how much she loves that show, playing that part. So yeah, that was a really lovely scene. I liked that, and
her last line was excellent as well.
Yes, I really like that. Her Yaz is heartbroken about the situation, but she's getting on with it. Yes. She's okay with it because she knows the Doctor's going to be okay because she's the Doctor. That was a great last line for Yaz as well. For now, until she's back in the 60th next year. I mean, there's a really good segue to bring in all those old companions.
Well, I mean, I think that's the other thing. I think Chibnall definitely set a lot of stuff up for future writers to be like, hey, we're going to pull on this, and this is going to there's a lot of base there set up if they want to introduce previous Doctors that we don't know. If they want to have past companions interact with their incarnations-ish, if they want to have an easy way to bring in companions, they can just be like, I know about the meetups you're doing and then whatever.
Yeah. It's Linda, but not shit. So
yeah,
I do appreciate that.
So there's definitely little things in there that people will be able to pick up. Not even necessarily Russell moving forwards, but even future showrunners might want to do it.
But they had a really good range of era companions in that little meeting room.
I'm surprised there was no new Who companions outside of Jodie's there though. It was only the classical Jodie's, so maybe that's because they knew what might. Well, I don't know if they
might be in the 60th
maybe
ones,
they wanted to avoid that.
Yeah, it definitely does seem like the 60th ones are probably going to be more leaned towards that.
Mickey and Jack being problematic actors now, that takes out 2. Rose is in a parallel universe. It only really leaves Martha from 1 to 4, and then you've got Amy Pond's dead, and then Bill and Clara are out in space rather than on Earth. So of the Earth-based people that you could bring in, it would only have been Martha, I think.
Yeah.
For now.
But yes, I guess we'll see in future if anyone else kind of pops up. But that was a lot seeing all those guys again. That's gonna be really special to a lot of people as well. It definitely, this felt like a love letter to 100 years of the BBC and nearly 60 years of the show. And that celebration is going to continue with the official 60th as well. But yeah, I thought Mandip was fantastic in this episode. I like seeing Yaz stand up for herself and try and trick the Master, play him at his own game, kick him out of the TARDIS and take off. She did.
She's almost saved the day. In fairness.
So that was really cool. I liked that, and just with so much going on, I think they still had a good focus on her loyalty to the Doctor, which has been a key aspect of the show. And I do like that when it came down to it, it was basically about the Doctor and Yaz in those final 10 minutes. And yeah, that scene where she like realizes that she's regenerating and Yaz is crying. Oh god, that was really sad.
And she's just eating the ice cream with that one glowing hand.
Yeah,
that was great.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and holding the ice cream in the other hand so it doesn't melt from the energy. So yeah, I love, like, as a conclusion to like a doctor companion relationship, I really did enjoy those scenes. I mean, I enjoyed everything about this episode basically.
Yeah.
You know, there are instant things I'm like, well, I could have done this, could have done that, but I think in this episode, who gives a shit? It really doesn't matter.
Overall, it's good, and I think the things that I didn't like, but the things that I liked less are nitpicks more than.
Yeah, I
More
think it was a
things that
really great celebration of this era and of the show and of the BBC, which could not have been an easy task. But I do think,
And arguably of Jodie's era as well, with 3 companions and the Master.
yeah, that's true.
4 companions if you count Binder.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed how they kind of got that across. I really don't think I would have been up to a task like this, to write something like this.
Especially during COVID and filming during COVID
And all of that, yeah, trying to make all these schedules work, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
Especially because,
Especially all the old Doctors where they probably had to
and
film
during
all
this, they're like, oh
separately.
yeah, by the way, you're going to have an extra episode.
Yeah, and
they have to work around all that.
You've got to write either the Daleks
Like
as well. during
Mandip
this.
was talking like they had to extend our contracts because we're doing the extra episode now.
Yeah.
So there's so much faff, and they could have easily just spent like,
Don't
we're
blame
not going to
Chibnall for
do,
leaving after this.
yeah, and like we're not even going to bother with the extra episode. They could have easily just said that, but they
Yeah,
came
could
out with
have
something.
ditched Eve and Legend in the CW.
Yeah, but that's how much they care about the show as well, and I think that's been evident about the minds behind this era from the very start. Which brings us on to Jodie herself, I suppose. I'm sad. I feel blue. I feel blue. She made me cry at the end. I very subtly wiped my man tears away.
And my tear-filled eyes I was looking through.
Yes. Really refreshing to not have her regenerate in the TARDIS as well.
Yes.
So that was a nice little bit. Yeah, tag you're it.
Yeah, I do like that.
Her doctor's so playful and everything like that. I really like that, and I loved what she said to the TARDIS. Look after the next one.
Yeah, I wonder if David's going to turn around, it's going to look like
The TARDIS is like, you again?
like normal. Like,
What the hell?
I wonder what if it's going to look like Jodie's TARDIS or if it's going to have changed as well, because it didn't, like, normally it
Yeah.
explodes, so it changes.
We know from filming the exterior is the same.
Yeah,
Unless they
because,
CGI it.
like I
for some
said,
reason.
I mean, the only time it's changed without exploding was between Matt Smith's seasons,
And Capaldi, yeah.
between 5, 6, and 7.
Oh, after the Ponds left as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
between 6 and 7, or mid, whatever, it changes there. But that's the only time when it's not exploded that it's changed of its own accord. So I wonder if it will do it again, or if it will be it's got to blow up to change.
Yeah. Or we just don't see the inside of the TARDIS until we get in.
It's true. Yeah,
They might do that
I
as
mean,
well.
we didn't
So
see
I think
the-
the set's gone now. So,
that's also true.
who can say? I guess we'll find out next year,
Mm.
whenever the first one airs.
Yeah, it just says 2023, doesn't it?
Yeah. So no Christmas special, like people were rumoured.
No,
saying.
but could be New Year.
Could be New Year. That's true. I'd be alright with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think. Well, we'll
I-
first talk about the Jodie stuff if first.
Yeah, that's true.
Before
There's just so much to talk about. I know we've missed some like really important stuff, but you know that's fine. So yeah, I've absolutely loved Jodie in the role. I think it's also helped having this experience of reacting to it on camera. This is, you know, we started with her era. It feels weird to be at the other end of it now. I think
it feels very quick. It feels like it's gone quick, but it's been 5 years.
yeah.
So
She's been such a brilliant advocate and ambassador for the show. I think she'll continue to be that as well.
100%.
You know, she was here in times of COVID doing conventions while like 8 months pregnant. So that's, you know, how passionate she is about the fans and the character and stuff. And
She'll be in Big Finish next week.
yeah, I'm very excited when we inevitably see her again. I can't wait to welcome her back with open arms. And I think this was a really great final adventure for her. I think she had a really great presence in it. She was a very commanding force. They showed some of her character growth as well in terms of how she kind of approached companions leaving. She's matured a lot while maintaining that kind of playfulness that her doctor's always had and that positive attitude she's always had, which kind of stemmed from, you know, Capaldi's final words telling the next doctor to be kind and stuff. She really took that on board, and I like that they've kind of carried that on in a way with what she was saying near the end, and her final words kind of echo that. So that was brilliant. And yeah, I've adored 13 and I love her performance.
I want more 13 content because always mention this, but there's only been 3 13th Doctor books ish, if maybe 4, I think. Proper ones, not like the junior novels, which are like really short stories. Only 3 novels, which I think is a real shame, because all 3 of them have been the original companions with Yaz, Ryan, and Graham.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to see more. I think, but now that she's gone, I don't know if they will. But yeah, I think I always big up the Doctor Who books because there are some good stories in there. Not necessarily, sometimes they go against canon, or sometimes they get wiped out in in a week's time. So maybe that's why they stopped doing them. But
Probably. Yeah.
I would want to see more of her Doctor, at least in other formats, whether that is books or Big Finish or whatever.
But yeah, right from the off, I think she's just been brilliant in the part. She's made history, and that's nothing to sniff at for sure. And what a way to start with our first, and certainly not only female Doctor, I think we'll ever get. I'd certainly hope not anyway, because I do think she's set a good standard for it. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that other than the fact that she's great, but we've been saying that for 4 years. So
5
that's
years, apparently, I think.
2018's 4 years ago, right?
Well,
Can I do maths?
I guess it depends when she started.
Well, I guess
Compared to-
Christmas Twice Upon a Time was 2017, I guess, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So
When
you
she
could
was
say 5 years.
if it's from when she was introduced, then
Yeah, then it
technically
has
it's
been 5 years.
but-
Because she is the longest running new series Doctor, isn't
Yeah.
she? So, and quite right too. I say she's been bloody brilliant. I've loved her. I'm going to miss her terribly. While also being excited to see Tennant back and whatever they're doing with his interim Doctor, and obviously Ncuti as well. And beyond all of that, but yeah, I'm really, really glad that we had Jodie for as long as we had her. And yeah, a really great ambassador for the show, and I look forward to seeing what she goes on to do in future. And when she
villains now, because every Doctor
ends up being
so.
everything in a comic book property after they leave.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll see her at some point in something. I don't know, but yeah, she's been brilliant, and I can't wait to see what else she will get up to in future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very
Series 4.
yes, I'm very sad to be losing her. But I personally would say she's had a very bloody good run at it.
Yes, yeah.
And say what you will about some of her era as a whole, I always think she's consistently been one of the best things about it.
Every Doctor's always one of the best bits of their era.
Yeah, and that's why they successfully audition and get the part.
Yeah.
So Ncuti will absolutely be doing the same next year. Well, 2024 onwards probably, really.
I don't know, who knows? Yes.
I don't know. Who can say? But Jodie, wonderful. I've loved her, but we've said that enough over the years. And then that leaves us with even her clothes regenerating into that
I
new
think
costume for David.
we knew he was coming. To be fair, we knew the regeneration was either going to be David or Ncuti.
Yes.
I'm glad they didn't do Ncuti then into David, so because that could have been misconstrued, I guess.
I would have quite liked that though.
Yeah, but
Just so Ncuti was like 14.
but he has been shown in the next time trailer.
That was the big surprise. Obviously, that trailer, it was very brief and stuff.
Very quick,
but
and
it was like, okay, yeah, we knew that. We knew that. We've
Yeah.
seen it. We've seen that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So I like that to kind of shove that in there.
Yeah, I think I'm excited for it. I think we both said that they do the cliche line. I kind of just wanted to.
I don't like that.
I just kind of wanted to go, I know these teeth, and then leave it there. But I get why.
I like that because that is a different line, but
It
it's
was a
also
play on how
referencing
it
his
happened,
first
yeah.
line.
And I get it, and I was gonna. I think I thought I'd find it cringier than I did find it in the episode. I thought it worked. It played better on screen than I thought it would in my head for me.
It's a fine line. It's just the fact that that's the 4th time they've done it now.
Yes, but it has been 10 years since it was last done. So
Yes.
in theory, I know everyone's gonna have issues, and everyone's gonna be confused for a good few months. I think.
Yeah, I am intrigued to see what the spacing of the specials is going to be.
Yes, my thought.
Obviously, I assume the 3rd one will be on the 23rd of November.
Yeah, that's what.
That will be just 13 months from today.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it will almost be.
So over a year, and hopefully we'd have had at least the first 2. I know.
My thought would be New Year, Easter, November.
Yeah,
That makes the most sense to me.
I could see that.
But they might do Easter, summer, and that might be more evenly.
But if
spaced.
it's New Year, why aren't they promoting it now?
It's true.
They should have started
they-
months
they-
ago.
They did. They have promoted it now. That's what it was.
They should have started
No,
months ago.
They did. Do you not remember the press releases?
No, that's not promotion for the specials.
But you know, I'm definitely going to go back through that trailer and be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, what on earth
A lot
is
of it,
this story?
a lot of the stuff that was seen in that was stuff that we'd seen out in public filming.
Yes.
It was the stuff in Bristol. It was the stuff in London. Neil Patrick Harris, that was in the Bristol thing.
Yeah.
The only things that we didn't know was when they were in that building with that door coming down, and Shooty, I think, were the things that we didn't really know about. So that just shows how much they filmed that we have absolutely no clue what's going on.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot.
But there's so much to dissect. Who knows? Doctor Who Twitter might have already put something out about about the upcoming stuff. I think it just said coming 2023.
Yeah.
So again, we don't know when that'll be. We might find out.
Yeah.
If it's going to be New Year, we'll probably find out within the next month because they'll release. The
Yeah.
Christmas
Now that this
schedule and
era is
stuff.
kind of wrapped up, they can.
Yeah, or they might
say what
announce
they
it in
want about it,
Doctor Who magazine because apparently there's going to be a
Oh,
Doctor
yeah,
Who
it's a
magazine
special
like a
issue, isn't it?
special
Yeah.
thing or something.
They might do that. Yeah.
Normal price though, not the £11 it probably cost. It's
Yeah.
I didn't care. I didn't want the 100th anniversary BBC additional magazine, Doctor Who magazine. I just wanted you. Give me the option.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm excited.
more Tennant.
I'm
That is
so excited.
quite something.
It looked like it was 10. The acting was 10.
Yes.
It wasn't because again, who knows what it's going to be.
And why does he have a different outfit?
Yeah, a
And
lot
why
of-
did his clothes change? Like, there's so many questions.
You know, and if again, yeah, I'm going to talk theories about the 60th. So if people don't want to know, then I'm sorry.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. You know, if Neil Patrick Harris is so called playing the Celestial Toymaker, that could be the point where he goes, now I'm going to mess with you, and he
Yeah.
changes the regeneration, and that's why it completely changes around him.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's the most likely theory from the context of what we know at the minute.
Yeah.
But we don't, you know, we don't know. But I would assume that's why it's happened. But
And the effect was very different of it happening.
Yes.
Like the clothes changing.
yeah.
So that is intriguing.
So I I know, you know, they didn't say. Well, I mean, they haven't put a named doctor, like a numbered doctor, in the credits for a while. To be fair, but it was introducing David Tennant as the Doctor, not the 14th Doctor or whatever. So I think Shooty was to be the 14th, and this will just be a middle one.
This is like the War Doctor.
like we've had War
or
and
the
Fugitive.
Fugitive Doctor. Yeah.
It will just be another something.
10-3.
Yeah, that's true.
Another
but
David Tennant
yeah,
one.
it could be another. You know, maybe it's the Toymaker Doctor, something like that. Celestial Doctor. I don't know.
I would like
if
the Toymaker
that's-
Doctor. That'd be fun.
If that's
If that
that's-
is what
if
it
that's
is,
the-
of course.
how it goes. Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that he has like a completely, well, it's the same kind of style outfit, but also completely different in the blue coat
twist,
stuff.
isn't it?
Yeah. So shenanigans are going on,
Yes.
and that's obviously.
And Shooty is also very confused, judged by his line in the
he
trailer.
he's a big
So,
mood.
And like I said, he's looked like he was in like a CGI like environment, so maybe he's
Yeah.
also at the edge of the. And that's how they do
Yeah.
it. Maybe they do
I
it
did think
again.
that he looked like he was at like the cliff edge for she regenerated
Yeah,
or something
so-
like that. So yeah, lots of questions, lots of excitement for the 60th. You know, I'm excited to see exactly what this 10 is going to be. Is it going to be the 10 we knew and loved? Is it going to be something slightly different? How does Donna's return play into that? When and how is
Who is
Shooty
Mel?
showing up? Well, we saw Mel in this
Yeah,
one.
well,
so
exactly.
probably
Is
just
it,
bringing
is
her
it
back
that
again.
one or is it?
Who can say? But I guess we'll find out at some point next year. God, I'm exhausted.
God,
That
I
was
just really like Doctor Who, and like these episodes, and just everything like that surrounds these big episodes and big events. Just reiterate why I enjoy this show.
Yeah.
The whole spectacle of it and the whole sort of madness of what happened in this episode and what is still to come, I think, is
Yeah.
the big selling point of the show. And some people want it to be your bog standard monster of the week. Don't change anything, but that's not what the show is.
No, and certainly not with Russell back in charge.
no,
Like, that's
it
going to
won't
be
be.
completely new all
Yeah.
over again.
And I'm excited for that. And if people don't like it, then tough, because it will bring in new people that do
Then
like it.
just stop watching and don't comment every week on Twitter about
Yes, yes.
it.
Or do watch it and still comment, because your views count as ratings. So
True.
at least if you're watching it and complaining, I don't care. It's when you don't watch it and you still complain, that's when it doesn't make sense. At least watch the content before you form an opinion.
Yeah. We've talked for nearly half the length of that episode.
Right.
So I think we're going
Yeah.
to kind of wrap it up there. But yeah, this year I got the Sea Devils back. We had a really fun time loop episode.
Loads
And-
of Daleks.
We've had an amazing final episode for Jodie and this era as a whole. You know, I know some people do have legit criticisms
Yeah.
of this era.
Yeah.
I personally have really enjoyed it, right from the off.
I've only got nitpicks more than criticisms. But,
Yeah.
you know, that's the case with every episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, so I've loved this era very much so, and I'm excited to see what Russell brings to things again with fresh eyes, but also the same eyes,
fresh
but a
eyes.
fresh take
Yeah.
from the same writer.
Because he's
So much.
expanded a lot, Russell, since he's
Yes.
been in Doctor Who. He's done a
You
lot
think
more.
Doctor Who's woke now? Just you wait.
Just go and watch Years and Years, and it's a sin. And
Yeah.
boy, oh boy, if it's a PG version of those, we're in for a treat.
So yeah,
Especially Years and Years.
that will be quite the spectacle with the 60th anniversary specials.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that the next episode's going to be like for the 60th anniversary. God sake. But yeah, that was potentially the most entertaining episode of Doctor Who there's ever been.
Definitely one of the most.
Yeah. And that's it. Bye. No. Thank you for watching for this past year of specials and the era as a whole. We started with Jodie. I don't know what my YouTube future holds, so I don't know if I will be tackling the next era of Doctor Who. We'll have to see what the situation is when
We'll
it airs
still
next
have
year.
reviews and stuff on mine, I would hope.
Yes, so we'll see
so
how that goes. But
Which
thank
will
you
be live.
for being here. Well, you've been here, if you are here. If you're still here after all this time, because we've been talking for ages.
That's true.
But yeah, regardless, it's been a real blast reacting to Doctor Who for the past 4 years. So yes, hopefully it will continue. I guess we'll see. But if this is the last one that we do, then what an episode to go out on. Like bloody hell. That was a really great centenary special, really great end to this era. I will miss it very much. I'll miss Jodie very much. But I'm excited to see what Russell and co have cooked up for us for the 60th anniversary and Series 14 and beyond. So yeah, Doctor Who's good, isn't it? I quite like
I love
Who.
Doctor Who.
Yeah,
Surprise, surprise.
yeah. I probably should have mentioned that.
Give me
at some
more,
point.
please. I'll
Well,
take more. I'll take loads.
you'll have more
Not
next
enough.
year.
Not enough.
But yeah, a really great celebration. I love seeing everyone come back.
Mm-hmm.
That did come back. I'm glad that Dan didn't die.
So glad Dan didn't die. Or Graham.
Yeah.
I'd have been in tears.
Yeah, that would have been brutal. So yeah, I guess that's that. What an episode. What an evening. And now I have to edit a 90-minute episode and then get up at 6 a.m. for work.
Better you than me, boy.
Hooray! Exciting. But I'm very excited to already dive back into this episode, so I don't think I'll mind too much. But yeah, that's going to be everything for now. Thank you for watching. See you when we see you. Goodbye.
Bye.